Yeah, come on in.
Hey, so how you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
All right. Didn't break your door.
You always break something, so.
So I had a good time teaching that class on Friday. Thank you very much.
It was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, in fact, it inspired me.
Oh, woohoo! What did you write? Animosity? International? Internal? Eh?
Isn't that what we were talking about?
Matt, come on. Really? Animosity, it means like being angry at people. Internal, it's inside.
Oh,
it's
wow.
that thing. Hang on. That one. Here. Amnesty International.
Isn't it the same?
No, it's not. Right? Amnesty International. It says animosity, internal.
Oh, this is how the guards felt. The bodyguards. Okay, because some students were mixing that up.
Animosity. Okay, alright.
So actually, I think we really need to review this because, yeah, I know animosity is not what we're teaching about. We're teaching about amnesty. But since so many of my students made a mistake, I thought I'd make a shirt.
Alright, okay.
Let's talk a little bit more about it.
Alright.
In the last class, we learned about Amnesty International, an organization that researches cases of possible human rights abuses, publishes its findings, gets the public involved in letter writing, and holds demonstrations to raise public awareness. AI especially supports prisoners of conscience, people who have used their conscience and taken peaceful actions to stand up for what they think is right, or to protest violations of human rights. The two Portuguese who were arrested and sent to jail for expressing their political ideas are a good example of the violation of the freedom of belief, Article 18, and opinion, Article 19. The case of Agostinho Neto is related to Articles 5, freedom from torture and cruel and degrading treatment, and Article 9, freedom from arbitrary arrest. AI also supports the families of the victims and campaigns on behalf of them, encouraging the public to write letters and emails to governments. This puts pressure on them to grant the victims amnesty and release them. We also learned about Nelson Mandela. He served 27 years in prison in South Africa. Later, he was elected president, but he did not show animosity or seek revenge on Afrikaners, white South Africans. In fact, he did many things to break down racial barriers in order to unify the country and encourage reconciliation. For example, when the Ministry of Sports unanimously decided to get rid of the national rugby team, Nelson Mandela insisted that they should not take away what the Afrikaners cherished. He also trusted Afrikaners to be his bodyguards. He wanted to show the public that he strongly believed in the Rainbow Nation, that the separation of blacks and whites was not an option. The next slide is going to be dark for a little bit, but there is a video there, so please be patient. It's so dark in here. This sucks. It's just too dark in here. I hate it when it's this dark.
Matt, what are you doing?
I'm sitting here, it's just so dark, I just hate it.
Well, why don't you light a candle?
Oh.
You see? It's better, isn't it?
Yeah, actually, that makes a lot of sense.
Right, you can see. You can see what the problem is when you've got a candle lit. Right?
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Well, that's exactly the topic we're going to talk about, the symbol of Amnesty International, right? Why do they use a candle?
Good idea. So first of all, if you were to describe the image or the symbol, one of the easiest ways is to say it's a candle encircled in barbed wire. It comes from the expression, better to light a candle than to curse the darkness, as Sophie pointed out for me a minute ago. The candle represents the light of public attention shined on hidden abuses of human rights. The candle also represents the spark for positive change in communities around the world to protect human rights. And the candle also represents hope. Hope for those people who are suffering from human rights abuses and those who defend human rights. The barbed wire, on the other hand, represents the hidden abuses of human rights. For example, the arresting of people for exercising their right to freedom of expression, or the torturing of people and their degrading treatment. It also represents government involvement in disappearances, where people are so-called arrested, but they never make it to the jail, or they're supposedly released, but they're never found again. The barbed wire also represents the death penalty. And unfortunately, the death penalty is something that once executed, there's no turning back. So we have evidence of cases where people have been executed and later have been found to be innocent. And there have been many cases that people have been proven innocent and fortunately released. But as life, the right to life, is one of the human rights, Amnesty International hopes that we will abolish the death penalty completely. So, in summary, the Amnesty International symbol is about exposing the truth, generating change, and offering hope to those whose human rights have been violated. So keep in mind that this Amnesty candle is a unique symbol of people speaking out effectively for human justice and dignity in our time. Wear the symbol with pride.
The last part of the flipped activities is dedicated to the Right for Rights campaign. Why is it important? Well, as we just saw with the symbol of Amnesty International, it's only when you make a problem visible, when you make a problem clear to other people, when you shine a light on human rights abuses, that you can do something. And the something you can do is right for rights. Also, people in jail need our support. Remember what the Tibetan filmmaker Dongdu Puancheng said when he came out of jail. He said, "I would like to express my feeling of deepest gratitude for all the support I received while in prison." Deepest gratitude, when you feel extremely thankful for people to have helped you out with something. That to me matters too. Coming up is a short discussion between Mathew and I talking about the meaning of right for rights for us. Oh,
Hey, Sophie.
hi there. How are you?
Good. What you doing?
I'm writing. I'm writing for the Right for Rights campaign. You know, the Amnesty International campaign that you told me about a long time ago.
I do know it. I also know you're a very busy person, and I'm wondering. So, why are you writing?
Well, first I have to thank you because you really inspired me to do it with all the experiences you've had before. And as you know, right, I'm a member of Amnesty International, and I received the magazine that they publish. And last year in May, June, they had a very, I don't know how to call it, a heartwarming and powerful article. It was called the Activist Doctor. And I think, for me, I already respect doctors, but the fact that they would be activists, I mean, that they would stand up for others and promote health is even even more remarkable. And so in the interview, she was actually arrested. She's from the Philippines. It's what we share with you in the booklet, by the way, right? And so it's Dr. Aurora Corazon, and she was arrested and tortured in prison. And Amnesty had her as a case a couple of years ago, and she, in this interview, she talks about how powerful those letters were. And so one of the questions from Amnesty was, how did you come into contact with Amnesty? And she explains that she actually met Amnesty in detention, so in prison, and because some of the political prisoners were farmers, and they couldn't read, and especially not in English. So she was translating those letters and realized, whoa, this is really amazing. And she says that their morale got boosted, so they felt so much happier to be receiving these, and realized that people were concerned about them was a great thing. And yes, the fact that the guards would treat them with more respect, so hopefully less torture. And I remember you told me that this was something they realized during the Vietnam War, right? So thank you, because so connecting what you had told me, being able to read about it, I think, yes, I'm busy, but it's so worth doing it. And I love because she says that when she was in jail, she was receiving letters from Denmark, from an activist in Denmark, and later on they could meet in person. And that to me is such a powerful idea and feeling that you can actually meet the people who have helped you. So, long explanation short, I think it matters. I think it makes a difference, and I think it's worth my time.
Yeah, and I think in class we'll talk a little bit more about how big of a difference it can make.
Thank you.